Captain Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of Research Station Helios, watching the dance of solar flares from the nearby star. The station's position, precisely calibrated at the Lagrange point between a red dwarf and its single rocky planet, made it an ideal location for studying stellar phenomena. But today, something felt off about their supposedly stable home among the stars. "Captain, we've got another power surge in Section 7, reported Dr. Marcus Rivera, the station's chief engineer. His dark eyes were fixed on the holographic display, fingers dancing across the interface as he tracked the anomaly. "That's the third one this week, and they're getting stronger." Sarah ran her hand through her short black hair, a habit she developed during their 2 years stationed at this remote outpost. "Any correlation with the star's activity?" "None," Marcus replied, shaking his head. "These surges have a pattern I've never seen before. They're almost rhythmic." The station housed only 20 crew members, each carefully selected for their expertise in various fields of space research. They were used to dealing with the unexpected, but these energy fluctuations were beginning to worry even the most seasoned among them. Dr. Amara Patel, their quantum physicist, approached with a tablet in hand. Her usual composed demeanor was replaced by barely contained excitement. "Captain, I think we need to investigate something. The maintenance drones found an anomaly during their routine scan of the outer hull." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Define anomaly." "It's easier to show you," Amara said, pulling up a 3-dimensional scan. "There's a chamber we never knew existed, hidden between the primary and secondary hull layers. The energy signatures coming from it match our mysterious power surges." The captain studied the scan, her military training kicking in as she assessed potential risks. The chamber appeared to be roughly cylindrical, about 3 meters in diameter, with unusual geometric patterns etched into its walls. "How did we miss this during construction?" "That's the thing," Marcus interjected, joining them at the display. "According to these readings, it's been there longer than the station. We built Helios around it without even knowing it was there." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine despite the station's carefully regulated temperature. "Assemble a team. We need to get eyes on whatever this is. Marcus, you're with me. Amara, I want you monitoring from here. Dr. Korsakov, our xenoarchaeologist, should join us too." Within an hour, Sarah led a small team through the station's maintenance corridors. Dr. Viktor Korsakov, a tall, lanky man with prematurely gray hair, carried an array of scanning equipment. His expertise in alien artifacts, though rarely needed at their research station, might prove invaluable today. The maintenance shaft was cramped, forcing them to move in single file. Their helmet lights cast long shadows ahead as they navigated through the narrow space between the hull layers. The steady hum of the station's systems was muffled here, replaced by an eerie silence. "Captain," Victor called out, his accented voice tight with tension. "These readings, they're unlike anything I've ever seen. The energy signature suggests quantum entanglement on a massive scale." Before Sarah could respond, a low vibration began to build around them. The metal walls resonated with it, creating a harmonic that set their teeth on edge. Their helmet comms crackled with Amara's voice. "Captain, the power surges are intensifying. Whatever's in there, it's reacting to your presence." They rounded a final bend, and their lights fell upon the chamber they'd seen in the scans. Up close, the geometric patterns were even more intricate, seeming to shift and flow in their helmet lights. The metal, if it was metal, had a faint bluish tinge that didn't match any material used in the station's construction. "Remarkable," Victor breathed, running his scanner over the surface. "The patterns appear to be some form of quantum circuit, but the complexity, this is centuries beyond our current technology." Marcus stepped forward, his engineering expertise drawing him to what appeared to be an access panel. "These markings here, they're similar to quantum computing interfaces we've been developing, but far more advanced. It's like finding a quantum supercomputer when we've barely mastered basic circuits." Sarah reached out to touch the surface, and the moment her gloved hand made contact, the patterns erupted with light. The chamber hummed to life, and a seam appeared in its seemingly seamless surface, beginning to part like the petals of a mechanical flower. "Everyone back," Sarah ordered, but it was too late. A pulse of energy rippled through the chamber, passing through their suits as if they weren't there. For a moment, every electronic device in their suits went dark. When their systems rebooted seconds later, they found themselves staring into the open chamber. Inside, suspended in what appeared to be a field of pure energy, floated a device about the size of a basketball. It pulsed with an inner light that seemed to bend reality around it. "Captain," Amara's voice came through their restored comms. "Whatever you just activated, it's interfacing with our systems. It's rewriting our quantum processors, upgrading them. And there's something else. I'm detecting signals. It's broadcasting into deep space." Sarah stared at the device, realization dawning. "We didn't find it," she said quietly. "It let us find it. And now it's calling someone, or something, home." The artifact continued to pulse, each wave of energy spreading through the station's systems like ripples in a pond. As the crew watched in a mixture of awe and apprehension, none of them could shake the feeling that they stood at the threshold of something much bigger than their small research station. Humanity's place in the cosmos was about to change forever, and they were at the center of it all. The next 12 hours aboard Research Station Helios passed in a blur of frenzied activity. Captain Sarah Chen hadn't slept since they'd discovered the artifact, and the dark circles under her eyes matched those of her crew. They'd sealed off the chamber containing the device, but its influence continued to spread throughout the station's systems. Dr. Amara Patel's fingers flew across her holographic interface, trying to keep up with the cascade of changes rippling through their quantum processors. "It's like watching evolution in fast forward," she muttered, her voice filled with equal parts wonder and concern. "Our systems are being optimized in ways I didn't even think possible." "But optimized for what?" Marcus asked, running another diagnostic on the station's power grid. The device's energy signature had integrated seamlessly with their systems, actually improving their efficiency by 300%. Nothing comes without a price. Sarah watched the stream of data flowing across their screens, remembering her academy training about Trojan horses and wolves in sheep's clothing. "Victor, what have you found?" Dr. Korsakov looked up from his analysis station, his gray hair even more disheveled than usual. "The device appears to be part of a vast network, Captain. The signals it's broadcasting, they're not just random transmissions. They're mapping coordinates, thousands of them, spread across the galaxy." "A map." Sarah leaned closer to his display, studying the intricate web of connections spreading across the star chart. "To what?" "Not to, through," Victor corrected, his eyes bright with revelation. "Each point corresponds to a quantum signature identical to our artifact. They're nodes, Captain. We've stumbled upon what appears to be an ancient transportation network spanning the entire galaxy." The implications hit Sarah like a physical force. If Victor was right, they were looking at technology that could revolutionize space travel. The ability to traverse vast distances through quantum connections would change everything: colonization, resource extraction, exploration. It would reshape human civilization overnight. A sudden alarm blared through the station, causing everyone to jump. "Multiple quantum signatures detected," Amara called out, her hands racing across her console. "The artifact. It's responding to something. The energy output is off the charts." The station's lights flickered as power was diverted to handle the surge. The holographic displays warped, showing cascading waves of quantum interference. In the sealed chamber, the artifact's pulsing had become a steady glow, its light seeming to bend space itself around it. "It's not just mapping the network," Marcus realized, his eyes wide as he interpreted the readings. "It's activating it. All of it." Through the viewport, space itself seemed to ripple like heat waves over desert sand. Points of light began to appear, quantum signatures flaring to life across the visible star field. Each one corresponded to a node on their map, creating a vast web of interconnected points. "Captain," Victor called out, his voice tight with urgency, "I've decoded more of the artifact's data stream. It's not just a transportation network, it's a communication system. And it's receiving responses." Sarah felt her blood run cold. From where? Everywhere. Victor's display showed dozens of incoming signals, each originating from different points in the network. Whatever species built this system, they're still out there. And they know we're here. The artifact's glow intensified, and new data began flooding their systems. Symbols and equations unlike anything they'd seen before filled their screens, accompanied by what appeared to be technical schematics and theoretical physics far beyond current human understanding. "It's teaching us," Amara whispered, watching as the quantum processors adapted and evolved to process the incoming information, showing us how to use the network. But Sarah's military instincts were screaming warnings, or preparing us for something. "Lock down all critical systems. Nothing gets in or out without manual authorization." "Too late," Marcus said, his voice hollow. "The artifact's already integrated with our core systems. We couldn't disconnect it now if we tried. Not without shutting down the entire station." A new alert sounded, this one deeper and more urgent. Amara's face paled as she checked the readings. Multiple objects just appeared at the edge of our sensor range. They're using the network. "Ships, Captain. At least 3 distinct designs, all of them coming straight for us." Sarah straightened, her jaw set. This was what she'd trained for. First contact scenarios, potential hostile encounters. But all that training had assumed humanity would be reaching out to the stars, not having ancient alien technology activate right under their feet. "Battle stations," she ordered, though the words felt surreal in their research facility. "Marcus, see if you can adapt our shields using what we've learned from the artifact. Amara, keep analyzing that data stream. I want to know everything about these vessels before they reach us. Victor, you're with me. We need to understand what we're dealing with before our visitors arrive." As the crew scrambled to prepare for their unexpected guests, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were pieces on a game board, being maneuvered into position by forces they barely understood. The artifact hadn't just awakened, it had triggered a cascade of events that would forever change humanity's place in the cosmos. The question was, had it chosen them by chance, or was this all part of some grand design set in motion eons ago? As she watched the approaching ships through the viewport, Sarah had a feeling they were about to find out, whether they were ready or not. The alien ships emerged from quantum space like predators breaking the surface of a cosmic ocean. 3 distinct vessel types approached Research Station Helios, each radiating power signatures that made the station's sensors scream in protest. Captain Sarah Chen watched them through the main viewport, her expression carved from stone. "Analysis," she demanded, not taking her eyes off the approaching vessels. Dr. Amara Patel's voice trembled slightly as she reported. "The largest vessel appears crystalline in structure, approximately 3 kilometers in length. The second group consists of biomechanical constructs, and the third appears to be composed of pure energy contained within geometric fields. 3 species, 3 completely different approaches to space travel." Dr. Viktor Korsakov mused, his scientific curiosity temporarily overriding his fear, each representing a distinct evolutionary path. Before Sarah could respond, all communications channels suddenly activated. The artifact's influence on their systems had upgraded their translation matrices, allowing them to understand the incoming transmissions almost instantly. The first voice was harmonic, resonating through the station speakers like crystal chimes. "We are the Luminar Confederation. The Nexus key belongs to us by right of creation. Surrender it, and we will share our knowledge." A second voice followed, organic and flowing. "The Synthesis Collective rejects this claim. We seeded the network nodes. The key is ours to reclaim." The third voice was pure mathematics translated into sound. "The quantum arcurky calculates a 99.997% probability that both claims are false. The key must be preserved for the greater equation. Sarah exchanged glances with her crew. 3 advanced species, each claiming ownership. And we're caught in the middle with technology we barely understand. She straightened her uniform. Open a channel to all 3. The communications officer complied, and Sarah addressed their visitors. This is Captain Sarah Chen of Research Station Helios. The artifact you call the Nexus Key has integrated with our systems. Removing it would destroy our station and kill everyone aboard. We're willing to discuss peaceful solutions. The Luminarch responded first, their crystalline ship glowing brighter. Your survival is irrelevant. The key must be recovered to prevent catastrophic network degradation. Your species is young, the Synthesis Collective added, their biomechanical ships pulsing like beating hearts. You cannot comprehend the implications of the power you have stumbled upon. The quantum arcurky's energy vessel shifted, patterns of light flowing across its surface. The human's quantum evolution has begun. The equation must be allowed to proceed. Marcus Rivera, monitoring the station's systems, suddenly called out, "Captain, the artifact is responding to their presence. It's showing us something new." On every screen in the command center, new data began to flow. But this time, it wasn't technical specifications or network coordinates. It was history, the history of the network, of the species before them, and of the wars that had nearly torn the galaxy apart. By the stars, Victor breathed, watching the story unfold. The network wasn't built by any of them. It's older, much older. These species found it just like we did, and they've been fighting over it ever since. Sarah's mind raced as she processed this information. The artifact didn't activate by accident. It's been waiting, testing species as they discovered it. And now it's showing us why. The images showed civilizations rising and falling, species discovering the network and fighting for control, each believing they were the rightful inheritors. But there was something else, a pattern hidden in the data that Amara was the first to notice. "Captain," she said, her eyes wide, "the network isn't just a transportation system. It's a test. Each node activates when it finds a species that might be ready to understand its true purpose. But no single species has ever passed the test." The artifact's glow intensified, and new information flooded their quantum processors. The station's systems began reconfiguring themselves, unlocking capabilities they hadn't known existed. Their shields strengthened, drawing power from the quantum network itself. "They're powering weapons," Marcus reported, watching the alien vessels. "All 3 species are preparing to fire. But something's different. The artifact is doing something to our defensive systems." Sarah made her decision. "If this is a test, then let's show them humanity's answer. We don't claim ownership of the network. We propose cooperation." She opened the channel again. To all vessels. The network wasn't built to be owned. It was built to unite, to connect species across the galaxy. Your wars prove you haven't understood its purpose. We refuse to surrender the artifact, not because we claim it, but because we recognize what it's truly asking of us. The alien ships had drawn closer, their weapons charged. The Luminarch's crystalline vessel sparkled with deadly energy. The Synthesis Collective's ships writhed like living things preparing to strike. The quantum arcurky's vessel distorted space around it. But the artifact pulsed once more, and something unprecedented happened. The network connections visible from the station began to shift, creating new patterns, new possibilities. The quantum processors displayed a message that made everyone on the bridge catch their breath. First contact protocol. Stage 2 initiated. Species integration test beginning. Sarah realized with sudden clarity that the artifact hadn't just been waiting for another species to find it. It had been waiting for the right moment, when multiple species could be brought together, forced to confront their differences and their shared destiny among the stars. The real test was just beginning, and the stakes were higher than anyone had imagined. As the alien ships held their position, weapon-taut but not firing, Sarah Chen and her crew found themselves at the center of a moment that would either unite several civilizations or condemn them all to destruction. The artifact pulsed again, waiting for their next move. Whatever they decided would echo across the galaxy for millennia to come. Time seemed to stretch like a wire pulled taut as the three alien fleets held their positions around Research Station Helios. The artifact's announcement of species integration test hung in the air like a challenge, or perhaps a promise. Captain Sarah Chen felt the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders as she considered their next move. The artifact's giving us access to new communications protocols, Amara reported, her fingers dancing across her console. It's creating a quantum-entangled conference space. We could bring representatives from each species together without anyone leaving their ships. Or it could be a trap, Marcus warned, still monitoring the station's enhanced defensive systems. We've got no way to know if these translations are accurate, or if we're being manipulated into something we don't understand. Sarah studied the holographic display, showing the positions of the alien vessels. The crystalline ships of the Luminarch sparkled like stars given form. The Synthesis Collective's biomechanical vessels pulsed with life, and the Quantum Archarchy's energy construct shifted like aurora in space. Each fleet represented a different path of evolution, a different approach to the cosmos. Dr. Korsakov, she called out, what have you learned from the historical data? Victor looked up from his analysis, his eyes bright with excitement despite the tension. The network was created by a species so ancient they left no other trace of their existence. They built it as a legacy, a way to guide younger species toward cooperation rather than conflict. But every time the network activated, the discovering species tried to claim it exclusively. And now it's brought 4 species together, Sarah mused. Us, the newcomers, facing 3 ancient civilizations. This isn't just a test, it's an intervention. A new alert sounded, and Amara's console lit up with incoming data. Captain, the artifact is. It's offering to show us something. All of us. It wants to create a shared virtual space where representatives from each species can witness the network's full capabilities. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. The opportunity was unprecedented. A chance to truly understand the technology that had changed their lives in the past 24 hours. But the risks were equally enormous. The alien vessels are responding, Marcus reported. They're powering down weapons. I think they've received the same offer. Sarah made her decision. Open a channel to all ships. When the connection was established, she spoke clearly and firmly. This technology was left as a gift to all species, not as a prize to be won. We propose using this shared space to establish a diplomatic framework. Together, we might unlock the network's true potential. The responses came quickly. The Luminarch's crystalline tones held a note of curiosity. Your proposal aligns with ancient protocols we had not considered. The Synthesis Collective's organic voice rippled with interest. Biological and technological integration on this scale. The possibilities are intriguing. The Quantum Archarchy's mathematical voice calculated. Cooperation variables show improved probability matrices for all outcomes. Captain, Amara interrupted, her voice urgent. The artifact is ready. But there's something else. It's not just creating a meeting space. It's offering to show us the network's true form, its complete purpose. However, she hesitated. The energy requirements would drain our station's reserves. We'd be completely vulnerable. Sarah looked around at her crew, seeing the mix of fear and anticipation on their faces. They had come to this remote station to study a star, and now they stood at the threshold of changing galactic history. We didn't come all this way to play it safe, she decided. Prepare the quantum conference space. Dr. Korsakov, you'll accompany me as our scientific advisor. Amara, monitor the artifact's interactions. Marcus, keep our emergency systems on standby. As the station's power was diverted to the artifact, the quantum processors hummed with energy. The command center's holographic displays merged into a single vast space where the laws of physics seemed more like suggestions. Within moments, Representatives from each species materialized in the virtual environment. The Luminarch appeared as crystalline beings of pure light, their thoughts resonating through the quantum field. The Synthesis Collective manifested as ever-shifting forms of organic and mechanical parts working in perfect harmony. The quantum arcurki existed as patterns of mathematical perfection given form. And there, representing humanity, stood Sarah Chen and Viktor Korsakov, appearing as themselves but somehow more, their consciousness expanded by the quantum network to perceive dimensions beyond normal space-time. The artifact's presence filled the virtual space, and suddenly they all understood. The network wasn't just for transportation or communication. It was a bridge between different forms of consciousness, different ways of perceiving reality. It could unite not just the physical aspects of civilizations, but their very ways of thinking. "This is what they wanted us to understand," Victor whispered in awe. "The ancient builders didn't just want us to travel between stars. They wanted us to comprehend each other, to grow beyond our limitations by sharing our perspectives." But as this revelation dawned, alarms blared in the real world. Marcus's voice cut through their expanded consciousness. "Captain, we've got a problem. The power drain is causing quantum fluctuations in the local space-time fabric. If we don't stabilize it soon, it could tear the station apart." Sarah faced the alien representatives in the quantum space. "The network is offering us a choice. Work together to stabilize these quantum fluctuations, sharing our different technologies and perspectives, or watch it all collapse. We can't control this power alone, but together." The Luminarch representatives chimed in harmony. "Our crystalline matrices could channel the excess energy. Our organic systems could adapt to the quantum fluctuations the Synthesis Collective offered. We can calculate the precise mathematical harmonics needed," the quantum arcurki added. The next few moments would determine not just the fate of Research Station Helios, but potentially the future of interstellar civilization itself. As reality trembled around them, 4 species faced the ultimate test of the ancient network, the ability to trust one another when everything was at stake. Time stretched and compressed in the quantum conference space as 4 species worked together to save Research Station Helios. The Luminarch's crystalline matrices hummed with channeled energy, creating lattices of light that stabilized the local space-time fabric. The Synthesis Collective's organic systems pulsed in harmony, adapting to and smoothing out the quantum fluctuations. Through it all, the quantum arcurki's mathematical patterns wove everything together with precise calculations. Captain Sarah Chen watched in awe as 3 vastly different civilizations, each capable of destroying her station, instead worked to save it. Dr. Viktor Korsakov frantically documented everything, his scientific mind struggling to comprehend the technological marvels unfolding around them. "Power levels stabilizing," Marcus reported from the real world, his voice filled with disbelief. "The quantum fluctuations they're forming a new pattern. It's like nothing I've ever seen." Amara's voice joined his, excited but controlled. "The artifact is integrating the combined technologies. It's not just saving the station, it's evolving. We all are." In the quantum space, Sarah could see it happening. The boundaries between species began to blur, not physically, but in understanding. She could perceive the crystalline logic of the Luminarch, feel the adaptive flow of the Synthesis Collective's thoughts, and grasp the elegant mathematics of the quantum arcurki. In turn, they seemed to understand human emotions, our capacity for intuitive leaps, our ability to find unconventional solutions. "This was the true test," Victor whispered, watching the energy stabilize. "Not whether we could use the network, but whether we could grow beyond our limitations by understanding each other." The artifact's presence filled the space with approval, and new data streamed through their enhanced consciousness. The ancient builders had seeded these nodes throughout the galaxy, not just as transportation hubs, but as points of convergence. Each node waited for the right combination of species to discover it, species that could learn to work together despite their differences. "Your species surprised us," the Luminarch representative communicated, their crystalline form shimmering with new patterns. Where we sought control, you sought connection. The synthesis collective's ever-shifting form pulsed with agreement. Your adaptability, your willingness to embrace change, these are traits we had forgotten in our certainty. The variables we never considered, the quantum arcurki added, their mathematical patterns expanding, were trust and cooperation. You showed us a new equation. As the immediate crisis passed, the quantum space filled with new possibilities. The combined knowledge and perspectives of 4 advanced civilizations began to unlock the network's deeper functions. It wasn't just a transportation system. It was a tool for sharing consciousness, for experiencing reality through others' perceptions, for growing beyond the limitations of any single species. The network can connect all our worlds, Sarah realized, seeing the possibilities unfold in the quantum space, not just for travel or trade, but for genuine understanding. We could build something unprecedented. The next few hours passed in a flurry of diplomatic and technological exchange. In the quantum space, the 4 species began laying the groundwork for what would become known as the convergence, a new form of interstellar cooperation that went beyond traditional alliances. Research Station Helios was designated as the first official convergence point, a neutral ground where representatives from all species could meet and share knowledge. The artifact, no longer just a piece of ancient technology, became a cornerstone of their shared future. Back in normal space, Sarah stood at the viewport, watching as the alien ships repositioned themselves around the station, no longer in battle formation, but in a protective circle. The artifact's glow had stabilized, now pulsing in harmony with the combined technologies of 4 civilizations. To think, Victor said, joining her at the viewport, we came here to study a star, and instead we found the key to humanity's next great leap forward. Not just humanity's, Sarah corrected, smiling. We're part of something bigger now. The ancient builders knew that true advancement couldn't come from a single species. It had to come from all of us, working together, each contributing our unique perspectives and abilities. Amara approached with a data pad, her eyes bright with excitement. The combined knowledge base is incredible. The Luminarch's crystal technology, the synthesis collective's biological engineering, the quantum arcurki's mathematical insights, combined with human creativity and adaptability. We're already seeing breakthroughs that would have taken centuries to achieve alone. Marcus joined them, shaking his head in amazement. The station's systems have been completely transformed. We're not just a research station anymore. We're a hub for an interstellar civilization that doesn't even have a name yet. Sarah looked at her crew, then out at the alien ships that now represented allies instead of threats. The artifact pulsed steadily, a reminder that some legacies were meant to be shared, not owned. Humanity had taken its first steps into a much larger universe, not as conquerors or subjects, but as equals in a grand collaboration. We'll need to contact Earth, she said finally. Tell them everything's changed. The future we imagined. It was too small. What's coming is bigger than any one species' dreams. It's time for humanity to join the convergence. As if in response, the artifact pulsed once more, and the quantum network lit up across the galaxy, a web of connections waiting to be explored by species working together. The age of isolation was over. The age of convergence had begun. In the vastness of space, Research Station Helios glowed with new purpose, a beacon of cooperation in an infinite night. The next chapter in the story of intelligent life had begun, written not by a single hand, but by many, each contributing to a tale greater than any could write alone.